You are watching the Greyhawk channel, and this is Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains. It is an epic plane-hopping adventure inspired by Dungeons & Dragons' original Master of Mages, and I'm here with a fantastic cast of players, many of whom you have seen here on the channel, at least half of them you've seen here on the channel before, and the other half you've probably seen somewhere else because they're really cool and they do a lot of stuff. So we're going to start, go around the circle, and we'll do ladies first because I'm old and that's how I roll. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm the Opera Geek on Twitter, and this is the first campaign I've done with Greyhawk channel. I did a one-shot that ended up being a two-shot.
Which is also how I roll.
With, that's how it works. I will be playing a bard. Are we supposed to say that?
Let's hold off on that.
Okay. I am not playing a bard.
You may or may not be
I'm
playing a bard.
But so I'm just, I am a professional opera singer that is just a rather large geek, and I'm really excited to do a campaign with Greyhawk.
Fantastic. Yay. And I'm very glad to have you back. The one-shot was, the two-shot was super fun, and I look forward to doing more stuff. Kem, who I've been insulting this whole time by calling Sem, please forgive me.
It's okay, I forgive you.
Thank you. Tell all these dear ones who you are.
So, I am Kem. I'm on Twitter at _Kempester, which is really difficult to spell. I'll put it in the chat at some point. This is my first time on the Greyhawk channel, so thank you so much for having me. It's super exciting to be here. I am also playing a mystery character who I guess we will discuss later.
We'll get to it in just a minute.
Yeah. But outside of Dungeons & Dragons, I am a PhD student. I'm currently writing my doctorate in early medieval military history. So I am layer upon layer of nerd.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just keep peeling it back. Nerd down to the bone.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sorry I'm so orange as well. I just want to say that it's nighttime for me at the moment, so lighting's all difficult. And
oh yeah, we've got all of this nice, wonderful daylight.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Mine's gone.
Oh well. And let's go with once again. I'm casting a show with two people with with the same first name, because playing D&D online is just not confusing enough for me. So I try to up the difficulty. Let's go with Sean O first. Who are you? Why are you here?
Hey guys, I'm here to play.
Right.
Big questions.
I'm Sean O'Hara. You guys can find me at Castle Mac Sean from a brand new stream on Twitch, Castle Mac. So we play in person Tuesdays and Sundays, and we're just kind of happy to be in the community. So, and I also have a mystery character. I am in fact playing in this game.
We are mysterious.
All right, it's not a mystery. We'll just get to it. And yeah, everybody, please do check out Castle Mac here on Twitch. Very new. Like, how new is this?
It's I think about 3 weeks.
Oh, fantastic! You guys are doing great so far.
Game. We're loving it. This community has just been so supportive, and I've enjoyed meeting everybody and watching everybody else's streams. So we're happy to be here.
That is fantastic. All right, let's also go to Sean M. Please.
Hi, I'm Sean. I write a blog called Power Score RPG. I write guides to the published adventures. Next week, I have a product on the DM's Guild that's coming out called Americall's Tome of Foes. Hopefully, it'll be out Monday if I can get it done. And I run games online like Tomb of Annihilation on my channel, Power Score RPG, and Dungeon Academy. I host Waffle Talk, which will be on the D&D channel tomorrow. at
Sweet.
4 o'clock
And
Eastern.
I caught it last night.
Oh, you saw the waffle talking.
Yeah.
And there's one other thing. Oh, and I've been making a clip show, best of tabletop RPGs. So people, if you're watching and you have a show, and Greyhawk channel also, please send me clips, and I'll put him on the best of April 2018 week 1. I have 2 super secret projects that I can't talk about.
Oh
one,
my gosh.
nobody's really going to care about. The other one I think could be a really big thing. So hopefully I can talk about it soon. And
Yay, fantastic.
I'm not allowed to tell you what my character is yet, so we'll wait.
All right. Well, here we go. Hey, I'm DM Shane. I run the Greyhawk channel. Do a lot of games, all about Greyhawk, of course. And this one is brand new today. You're catching the very beginning of Mordenkainen's Path of Plains. And yes, of course, it is entirely because of the upcoming Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. And my shameless attempts to capitalize on the reintroduction of the name of Mordenkainen to the D&D community. This has been a character. I mean, you can always find the mention of his name, but I would warrant that the vast majority of people who are new to D&D, I guess the vast majority of people playing 5th edition don't know the name of Mordenkainen. What's the name of the big wizard in Forgotten Realms? What's his name? Starts with an E.
Elminster?
Elminster. Yes. So Mordenkainen is basically the Elminster of Greyhawk and beyond, as I'm assuming the Tome of Foes is going to make clear. Just a brief history lesson, and I promise I'm going to keep this brief. A brief history lesson of who Mordenkainen is before we press on. For those of you who are excited about the new book, kind of baffled by this gigantic name, and who is this guy and why does he have a Tome of Foes? What I think is really awesome about Mordenkainen is here we are, 5th edition. He's entering the Wizards of the Coast pantheon in this book, but he is the oldest NPC in Dungeons and Dragons. Mordenkainen was born at the table of Gary Gygax in 1972. He was his PC. As he and other friends, before there was TSR, before Dungeons & Dragons was a game that you could play or that you could buy, back when he and his buddies, Tim Kask and a bunch of other folks, were coming up with it, sitting at their table, Gary Gygax rolled up Mordenkainen. And over the years, he became 20-plus levels in experience. And this is back in in old school D&D where it was really easy to die. Like 5th edition, you can't even kill characters. But like back then, somebody passes gas really hard and they're dead and there's nothing you can do. You fail your save against Death Ray, or it's just you just get killed so easy. And so it was, and he didn't skimp on the rules just because it was his character. So this is a for real icon. And then he entered as Gary Gygax moved on, crafting more and more of the world. He entered the world. He is like I said, the wizard, the big wizard of all of Greyhawk. He actually has a lot of competitors. He's not like I think the way to think of him would be like almost like a Gandalf, even though the personality is completely different. Super, super powerful, but plenty of people on his level of power. But he's famous for being the master manipulator. He is for those people who still even pay any attention to alignment, which I really don't, he is the true neutral. He always is working behind the scenes, manipulating both good and evil to achieve ongoing balance. And he would argue that what is good, what is evil, evil to itself probably thinks that it's good. Who gets to call themselves good and evil usually is more of a product of who wins in the end. And he instead plays both sides against one another to maintain balance. And he's also very selfishly interested in the maintaining and growth of his own power, like many archmages are, and especially not moderated by lawful good tendencies to go out and help the general population. So he's a very complicated figure. And so that's all the history I'm going to give. That more and more of that will come out as we play Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains. And this is Session 0. I've never aired a Session 0. I don't know whether it's going to be interesting at all. It is my hope and intention that this isn't going to take our whole time and that we're actually going to begin the adventure relatively soon. But we are going to do some Session 0-y stuff. And so here we go. Here we go with that. I think I would like to begin by, yes, let's have everyone introduce their character. Let's hold off. Talk about who your character is now, to the best of your knowledge. And if you don't really know, that's fine. That's part of what we'll develop right now. But don't talk about your character's backstory. Let's start with Sean M.
Okay, I made a Githzerai monk, a drunken master. So, for people who don't know, a Githzerai is kind of a tan, green-skinned, alien kind of looking humanoid. I got like little slits for nostrils, pointy ears. My character has long black hair that hangs in his face, and I have a special flask that I drink my Githzerai liquor, which is called Feck. Feck is from a 4th edition adventure, and I drink that all the time. And I'm 10th level, and I have a million powers. The whole column is weak. So.
That's what you get with all those, you with a crazy race and a monk. You just have all this stuff going on back there.
And I will forget most of them, so people in the chat, please feel free to.
Yeah, please. And Sean, I've only DM'd for a monk once, and I've never run one. So, like I was telling Kim, right, on our last skirmish, just make up your powers. Tell me you can do anything. I won't know until later when I check the guide.
Can I do that too?
No. Let's go with Kim now. Tell us about Lux.
Yeah, so I am actually for the first time playing I've never played a rogue before, so this is going to be interesting. Lux is she's an arcane trickster. She likes to pull pranks. Her kind of life's motto is, if we can run away, we should. She's her gray eyes, kind of short and skinny, basically would fade into the background, super easy. She's definitely running away from something. Yeah. And that's all I can say, really. Apart from this is the first time we'll be playing somebody with spells. So.
That's fantastic. I think we're starting to feel your signal starting to labor as it comes to us all the way from over the Atlantic. A few little lags. Hopefully the internet gods will be kinder to us than they are being to Roll20 right now.
Yes.
What about Brelinda?
Oh, good
It only
job.
took me like 3 days to learn how to pronounce that name correctly. Please.
Do you have a little post-it note? Brelinda is a half-elf bard. She is quite cynical, but she's not, despite what it sounds like, mean all the time. She's just a little sarcastic. Oh God, that's so hard to do this without saying anything about background. She likes to drink and be with her chosen companions. She's very loyal to. And I don't know what else I can say without giving a whole bunch of stuff away.
Well, she sings,
We're going
right?
to talk to...
I do sing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So she is a genuine bard.
Yes, just like real life, I can't play any instruments. I just sing.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, we are going to get into backstory here in just a moment. And also remind us what level for you?
10.
Yes. So we are, I wanted to craft a plane hopping adventure, which does not lend itself to first level characters. So we are starting about halfway up the scale. So we're starting with some folks with some power behind them from the get-go. Sean O, tell us about Heinrich. Now, is that the pronunciation? Heinrich? Do I have to say that every time?
It's close. Just Heinrich.
Okay.
So Heinrich is a human battlemaster fighter. I think he's been returning from a long conflict to look for his son that he hasn't seen in a long time, but he was waylaid in very much an Odyssey type setting, so he's returning home far later than he expected to.
That's good to know. Very good to know. Fantastic. So I think what I would like to do now is talk with each one of you privately about your backstory. You guys are, obviously, you're a level 10 party. I have sort of made the decision, although we can change it right now on the fly, but I had kind of figured that you guys already know one another and have adventured together. Doesn't have to be that way, that we could change it. But why don't we start talking about backstory and then we'll kind of get a gut feel for how we want to handle that. So if you guys would, just so I don't have to do the hopping, we're going to go in that same order. I'm going to start with Sean. So if everybody else would hop into the private Discord channel and don't listen on Twitch, minor spoilers. I want to save this for you guys. So if you guys would go and do that, and then just wave at me when you're in the private channel, so that Sean and I will be alone here in this Discord channel.
Oh dear, which private channel? Oh dear.
I think there's one that says private 1. If not, just go up into the general. That's
All
fine.
right.
Okay.
Can you just click on the headset and does that mute it?
She's gone. Sean is already worried for when he's going to have to move.
I'm doomed. I'll just take my headset off.
All right. Okay. And then just watch us all waving at you, Sean. Earth to Sean. Come in, Sean. All right, Sean. Tell us about Odos. You have what I think is a very interesting backstory.
Okay. All right, everybody. I have diarrhea of the mouth, so just cut me off when you want me to stop.
Well, we're killing time till Roll20 gets up anyway.
Okay. So I wrote a guide to the Githzerai a few years ago. I went through every old product I had, and I collected the lore on the Githzerai. And so I'm using a lot of that. A lot of lore, actually, I want to use from Planescape Torment, if that is okay. So my character, okay, so in Limbo is, I'm saying this for people who might not know.
Yes,
Limbo,
please, a brief education for us all.
Limbo is the plane of chaos. It's full of roiling matter. There's boulders flying around, and lightning, and clouds, and fire. And the Githzerai, for whatever, ended up living there. And in order to actually live there, they have to use their mental powers to keep the chaos at bay. There's a thing called mutability, where you can focus your mind and actually mold the chaos into a shape that sustains itself as long as you maintain concentration. So in Zerthadloon, in the center of the city, there's these people called the Sustainers, where they sit cross-legged in a circle and they focus, and their whole job is just to keep the chaos out and keep the city intact. So my story, my character Odos, is I was supposed to be a Sustainer. They decided that I had what it took to do it. But my character didn't want to waste his life sitting cross-legged, keeping a city together. And he told them no, and they got really mad at him. They said, "Look, we need you." I said, "I'm not doing that." So my character started drinking, became a drunken master, got into a series of altercations with the Sustainers, and they finally kicked me out. And so my character, while he doesn't want to be a Sustainer, he does love the city. So what he's doing is drinking a lot, wandering, and looking for a magic item that could protect the city so that people don't have to waste their time. You know what I mean? The Sustainers
Yes.
they do. That's kind of what my character is doing. But my character isn't even sure if, even if he found an item, that they would they would let him come back or even use the item, because part of the sustainers are there because, you know, they're people, and if something weird happens, they can adjust. A magic item is just a static thing. So there's that. And then also my character, like all Githzerai, I worship Zerthanlun. So I have the Bible is the Unbroken Circle of Zerthamon. It's a big stone donut with all these moving parts, and it's a puzzle. And as you solve the puzzle, you open the different circles that have teachings of Zerthamon. So I think there's either 8 or 9. My character, despite being 10th level, is only on number 4. He's not doing so well learning the teachings of Zerthamon, but so he's on 4. So whenever I'm resting, that's what I'm doing. I bust out my little thingy and I study it. And the flask that I have, my character drinks all the time. So I have a flask, and it's made of some weird metal that my character doesn't, like I'll pull it out and I'll drink from it. But if people say, hey, what's the deal with the flask? My character will be like, shut up. Don't ask about the flask. And on one side, because what happened was, part of my training to be a sustainer was I had to create works of art. So the flask was something my character used his mutability to create, and it's a permanent item, and it's made of some metal. People don't even know what it is. So when the sustainers saw that flask, they're like, you have to be one of us. You have the skills to do it. But my character doesn't want to do it, but I love the flask. So on one side, it has a skull of a Githyanki, and the other side has a skull of a Mind Flayer. The Githyanki and the Mind Flayer are the 2 enemies of the Githyanki. And also I had written down... I have a big page of notes.
Oh my gosh! Right on, dude.
I won't bore everybody with all of them. But my Githzerai speak a certain way, so I wrote down a bunch of sayings and stuff like that. So I wrote down what the teachings of each of the circles of Zerthamon is, and the 3 truths that every Githzerai lives by. I can tell you that one real quick.
Yeah, tell us that one.
Number 1, the Githyanki and Mind Flayers will always be my mortal enemies. 2, I allow nothing to hinder the survival of my race. 3, no one will enslave me ever again. So the main story...
yeah.
So I don't want to bore everybody to tears, but here, basically the story of the Gith goes like this, right? The Mind Flayers create slave races, right? So they enslaved the Gith, and so the Gith were all toiling away, and they finally rebelled. And there was 2 rebellious leaders. There was Gith, who was like a militant warrior type. And then there's Zerthamon, who is a more philosophical person. And it was Gith who led the actual Gith race to overthrow the Mind Flayers and bust out, right? But then, once they escaped, there was a split. The Gith wanted to continue to hunt the Mind Flayers into extinction, and the other Gith, the Zerthamon's people, just wanted to, let's just get out of here and enough already, So Gith became the Githyanki, the warlike silver sword wielding, red dragon riding maniacs of the astral plane. And the Githzerai are the kind of the monkish philosophers who live in limbo. And now they are mortal enemies. The Gith are ruled by the Lich Queen, Vlakith. And I believe the Githzerai, this isn't talked about much, but what I read was that the Githzerai are actually ruled by a wizard king named Zareth Menar Argith. That might be different now, but that's what I saw in 4th edition. So I hate Githyanki, and I hate Mind Flayers, and I will attack either one on sight. And in general, my character hates slavery. So anytime I can free slaves, I will do that.
That's important to note.
Drop what I'm doing to do it, because that's our people. And as far as the teachings of Zerthamon, I'm going to spoil Planescape Torment a little bit for people. It's a great computer game. If you can handle reading, you will love that game. But in that, the main character, the Githzerai character in that, his name is Dakan. And what he comes to realize as he's studying the teachings of Zerthamon is, he thinks that Zerthamon, the whole thing might be a lie, and that Zerthamon was actually like a spy for the Mind Flayers within the Resistance, trying to...
It sounds like the Matrix.
Down. And so there's this thing, I did not take this, but Githzerai have this... Okay, so you got the Githyanki who have the silver sword. The Githzerai have a thing called the Karak. It's a sword made of chaos matter. And when your faith wavers, it becomes weaker. The Karak has 3 stages. There's the Kinstealer, the Chained, and the Streaming. So to me, a kin stealer is like an insult. Like if I call you a kin stealer, I'm saying you're like a weak, wobbly sword. You're pathetic. But I was thinking I might.
Would that be
myself...
like a flaccid sword?
Yeah,
It gets that bad. Okay.
It's a kin stealer. But my character doesn't use swords, so I figured I wouldn't add it. But just I might use that as an insult. And then I have all sorts of sayings like. People will probably get really sick of it, but things like when I say goodbye, I say endure, in enduring grow strong. And then when there's no compromise, when I'm not going to compromise with somebody, I will say there cannot be two skies, because that's what Zerthamon told Gith when they were arguing about what to do next. There cannot be two skies. And that was like a big deal, and it's the permanent rift between the two races. So I got a bunch of junk like that, but that's basically my character. I'm a crabby dude, long black hair.
So you're crabby. Okay.
I drink, and then I have my power. The Drunken Master has a power called Tipsy Sway, where I can stand from prone with just a 5 feet of movement. And when somebody attacks me, I can use my reaction to redirect their attack to hit somebody within 5 feet of me. So hopefully I'll be able to use my tipsy sway to get bad guys to hurt their allies, and I'll just stand there.
The
you know what
tipsy sway.
The tipsy sway, yeah.
Wow.
So, and I can deflect missiles. I really want to do this, where a missile gets shot at me, I can either swat it away, or if I roll good enough, I can catch it and throw it back. That would be awesome. So.
Well, I'm really looking forward to a couple of things. First of all, DMing for a monk, which I've never played and not really DM'd for, so that's going to be a learning experience for me. But another one is like what you guys in chat are learning here. I haven't asked Sean for permission for this, but I just call him the lore master. Because I've never met someone who just knows more stinking lore. Which you can find in his DM's Guild publications and in his blog. I mean, the dude just knows it. So it's super, super exciting to play with somebody like that. So a question for you, as you are considering getting into this adventure, what do you prefer? Do you think you'd like to have been with these people for a while as adventuring partners, or you just meet them?
I would like it if we just met, because my character's going to start off as a crusty jerk, but maybe they can break through the crust and learn my secrets, or maybe not. Who knows?
All right, so we're breaking through the crust here.
If we already know each other, it's going to be like they might have already done that, so it might be a little.
Gotcha.
My character's edgy. I'm like Vegeta or whatever, even though I've hardly ever seen Dragon Ball Z. I'm like Vegeta, but I want to go from Vegeta to not.
So I don't know what Dragon Ball Z is, and I'm like, Vegeta, can you say that on the stream? I just like, what are you talking about, dude?
Vegeta.
All right, okay, yeah, Dragon Ball Z, right, that one. Okay. So I'll get a sense from the other characters as well about what they would like to do. I'm starting to feel like we may just meet, and you guys will have to learn to like one another to survive or die. So that's always an option. Okay. All right. So I believe the Mordenkainen bot is awake now. Thank you, Bree, for the reminder. If you would. Sean, hop up there and send Kelly down. That would be fantastic.
I'm going to try.
Now, if you can do that. Okay, so here's the deal. Sean knows everything except the workings of Discord. So,
I'm so bad at Discord. You said it perfectly earlier. What was it? On the old man who heard something about Facebook?
Marge, they said that on the Facebook we can stay in touch with the youngins.
I'm trying to stay in touch, everybody. I'm trying. All right, I'm going to go.
All right, hop up there. Find them. Send somebody down. I'll try to wave at them and bring them down. Yeah, if Sean has a weakness, which is not, it may be rushing it to say that, but that would be his weakness. So it looks like he has made it. Oh, I hear Kelly's voice.
Trouble. Why am I calling to the principal?
Here we go. You're in the principal's office now. Kelly.
Yes.
What do you know about Brelinda's backstory?
I actually did write a backstory, so...
You see why I cast these people? Do you see? Fantastic.
Oh my god, my cat's going insane on the couch. She is half elf. She was left at I wouldn't call it a convent, more like one of those Oliver Twist houses.
Orphanage.
Sweatshop
orphanage sort of thing.
Yeah, in the archclericy of Valuna. She was left there by her father, who was the elf, who, was like, yeah, I don't need this, after the mom's dead. This particular place specialized in, they would send the kids out to as servants or whatever else. And when it was discovered that she could sing and had an aptitude for languages and conversation, she became, hired out to do all this stuff. And so kept her head down for a long time. Of course, they made all the money off her. So she kept her head down and kept quiet and waited until a particularly lucrative gig, at which point, instead of going back to the orphanage, she took the money and ran and got out of Dodge.
Fantastic.
So she does not, given that Valuna is, which I had to look this up, Valuna is a religious state.
It is the archclericy. It is a theocracy.
Yeah, so she does not have a very high opinion of religion or gods, because the people that ran the orphanage were supposedly religious and they were not very nice. She's not necessarily atheist, because the thing is, she's like, yeah, the gods exist, but they have done nothing to warrant me believing in them.
Right.
So yeah, so there's that. So she just scarpered with the money and has been wandering around, making money, adventuring, and singing odd places here and there.
So there is an incident in your backstory. Because I have actually played 2 episodes with you and with this character. The events, for those of you who may be new to the channel, everything that goes on the Greyhawk channel, we're up to 5 campaigns right now. Every week, 5 campaigns. Yes, I'm crazy. Everything that goes on the Greyhawk channel happens not just in the same world, the world of Greyhawk obviously, but at the same time. So things that occur influence other campaigns. This is a little bit of a strange beginning. The events, we're actually beginning in the future. I'm not going to tell you much more about that. But tell us, but the events that occurred in the skirmish that you had will have some bearing, especially right at the very beginning of this episode. So would you, as best you can, summarize what happened? Who did you meet? What did you find? What did you lose?
Okay, so I was with a small band of adventurers who we had a cleric, a sorcerer, and a monk, and myself, and we'd been adventuring for a while, and decided to go on a caravan to cross, what is that place called? The Dry something.
You were in the Dry Steppes.
Dry Steppes.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were in the Dry Steppes, got caught in a sandstorm, ended up losing all of our stuff, went through a portal that we didn't know was there, and found ourselves in basically a necropolis.
Yes. Good name. Fantastic.
Which, as it turns out, was the necropolis of the mages who had called down an act called the Rain of Colorless Fire on another kingdom, which was basically like setting off a nuke.
It's an arcane nuke, essentially. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's basically a really horrific act, and so these weren't exactly nice people, and so we commenced with a bit of grave robbing, and found some statuary that referred to different artifacts that were involved in the Rain of Colorless Fire. Do I still? Oh, Shane.
What?
I still have my notes.
Oh, good for you! Bravo.
So I have the artifacts that made up the ashen, the rod of staff, or the rod of ash, the ashen
staff. Yes.
Yes, that created the Rain of Colorless Fire. One of which was the Crystal of Ascaf, which unfortunately, after we solved all the riddles, and killed some scorpions and some ghost ladies, and got our way into the final puzzle room to find the long dead king of this country that had called down the rain of colorless fire.
Yes, the Archmage Ilkben.
We got harassed by 3 people, which while we were in the middle of fighting the mummy, she stole the crystal of Ascaf. So I was approaching this campaign as, Berlinda, who is extremely sarcastic and very cynical, is now a little more, I don't want to say depressed, but a little more subdued, because she's the one who had the ability to read the language, so she knew what all that meant, and the fact that it was lost, that we screwed up, the fact that we screwed up and it got lost, kind of is weighing a little bit heavily on her, because she knows what that's capable of.
When we begin the adventure, this what you have just described will become all the more pressing. So this feeling of, oh, I almost had that thing, and I let it fall into the hands of... Did you actually meet those people? Did they introduce themselves? Did you learn their names? I
only got her name when you accidentally told it to us. She did not, and when she rolled. So I figured I wasn't supposed to know that. So I did not.
And the guy didn't get to roll because you banished him almost immediately.
They did. We did banish him, and I insulted her to death, or close to it.
Close to it, yes. Okay.
But so as far as we could tell at the end, she had gotten off into an extraplanar escape. Important
to note that this one woman was obviously Sul in heritage. Actually, both of them were, which means very light-colored hair and very light skin. Her skin was almost albino, and the man, half of his face was hideously disfigured. The other half, he was not as pale, but he was clearly Sul as well.
Wasn't Sul one of the 2 empires?
Yes.
That was the one that got destroyed, right?
That is the one that got destroyed. Well, they both got destroyed, but that's the one that the Ashen Staff was used to destroy, bringing the rain of colorless fire. Yeah, we're just going to pour on the lore here. We're going to see if we can bludgeon people to death by lore. So, how would you like to believe that? Would you like to begin as part of a party? A long-standing party of adventurers, or would you like to meet for the first time at the top of the first episode?
That's a hard question, Shane. I didn't think I was going to get to choose. Do I get to know what Sean asked? Or what Sean answered?
No.
Crap.
So basically you're voting, and I will just make a decision.
I think it could be interesting to meet, but it depends on the time. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
But can I have a pet?
A pet? What pet would you like?
Not just a flavor pet. We'll discuss it later.
Oh, that's an interesting question. What is a flavor pet?
It's just.
I'd like the chat to have fun with that.
Yes, it's just, it doesn't attack or anything. He just hangs out with me.
And flavors things.
And no, I don't use him to flavor things. That's horrific. You're a bad man. All right, so I will leave the meeting or party up to you. I'm good either way. There's interesting things that could be done either way.
Fantastic. Well, send Sean O down to me.
Sean O.
Since Kim is taking a bathroom break.
This is like Red Rover. Hi.
Assault Mephit. Or Mephit. I never know how to pronounce half these strange Dungeons and Dragons names. But yeah. Assault Mephit.
I'm here.
Hey, Sean, how are you doing?
I'm good, Shane.
And I just want to note to the folks in chat that Sean enlisted in this game at about 11:45 last night.
I did.
I think that's right. So thank you for being willing to hop in, from nothing.
Excited. I've been watching the channel. I'm excited. Just
right on. That's right.
Play online with you guys and everybody else. So I'm And plus plane hopping. I've been really looking forward to the new book and
Plane
stepping
hopping.
through
Yes,
the planes.
yes. Yeah, it's going to be interesting as we begin our plane hopping before the book comes out. I hope we are going to be plane hopping in a consistent manner. But that's all right. We write our own story. So speaking of your own story, tell us about Heinrich, this character that you have agonized over for weeks and weeks and have crafted this long, elaborate backstory.
I've been writing him for 25 years, so I think he's pretty fleshed out.
I was just kidding, assuming you hadn't done much since 11 o'clock last night.
No, this was a shelved idea I had somewhat had.
Oh, right
my
on.
plans perfect
Fantastic.
for this to some degree, but it's not much. So I do think Heinrich Madsen was in a war conflict across the sea from his homeland, and it took far longer than he thought. I think he's in his 50s, and it took about 20 years. So he does have a bit of an Odysseus. Okay, I'm finally going to go home, but he's just been waylaid in misadventures here and there. But his ultimate goal was to get home. I think he's jovial. I mean, he's fought alongside other people, so I think he is somewhat of a commander. And
So you think you might have been gone as long as 20 years?
I do.
Okay.
But I can.
Why did
I can
you
also
leave?
change
Do you
that.
know?
I think he
Just off
definitely
seek
felt.
fame and glory?
I think it was the call of his king. I think he thought that there was a matter of duty and honor to go. Reluctantly left his family. I do think he reached some disillusionment along the way. He didn't think it would take that long that long in a protracted conflict. I think he kind of lost faith in the lordship a bit. Didn't really know what they were fighting for anymore.
Just on the fly, trying to tweak that a little bit to fit into the existing lore of Greyhawk and our storylines. It seems like there's a couple of things that that could be. You could be. I think there's not a conflict that would have kept you away that long.
Okay.
There are a lot of conflicts. Many of them will get mentioned as soon as we begin actually playing. But you could have been tasked with a journey of exploration.
Expeditionary force. I
Yes. So there's a nation called the Sea Barons, appropriately named the Sea Barons, and you could have been commissioned by the leadership, who I don't know off the top of my head, but I can pull up in just a minute, to journey across the Solnor Ocean and make contact with a nation that has been rumored across the sea, but the Solnor Ocean is so vast that there has been nothing more than rumors. But it's apparently a fairly advanced culture and society over there called Imperia. And it won't come into the game right now, so we can discuss a little bit of, did you make it to Imperia? What did you find? What is the bearing of that? But I do like the thought that you were eager to come back to meet your family, and you don't meet them for reasons that will become clear as soon as we start playing.
Of course, if he met them, why would he leave again?
That is true. That is true.
I like this. So Imperia, I went over the Solnor Ocean as part of the Sea Barons. And
Yes.
I've had certainly many adventures along the way and small conflicts.
Yeah, we can go nuts on like the adventures you could have had and what you could have learned, and we'll always try to tie that into story threads. But if we actually get to playing, which we're going to get to playing, none of that will enter into our first episode. So we'll have a little time.
That sounds good.
Would you like to have? Kim is showing off her German beer. Would you like to have been part of this adventuring party for some time? Or do you like the thought of perhaps all of you have met just at the top of the first episode for different reasons? and need to get to know one another?
I'm definitely good either way, but I'm okay with having just met this crew and this party, having potentially left my old crew and thinking that I wouldn't have another one.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, if you would you hop up into the other channel and drag Kim down to me before she gets too plastered to play? I would love to talk with her, and then I'll gather everybody up again. We'll start playing in a few minutes.
Absolutely, I'll grab her.
All right. It looks like NPC Bree, I don't know if she's still in chat or still watching, is about to lose her title as stream boss. Just to remind you guys how that works, anybody who follows or subs or donates or throws bits, it takes away her hit points. And then whoever lands the killing blow is named the new stream boss, just so you know. Lots of little mini games going on. Hey Kim, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. I've just been having a wonderful with everyone else.
So how tipsy are you at this point?
Not as I would like, but heading that way. But be assured this is the only beer that's in the apartment.
Oh, so, my condolences.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
sad.
It's a terrible shame. Yeah.
Well, what can you tell me about Lux?
Well, Lux is definitely a super work in progress. Like bring to the table today. I just had this idea of wanting a rogue character that wasn't the typical like criminal background, becomes a rogue, like then starts adventuring. And then the more I thought about Lux, the more I felt like actually the criminal background was perfect. So my idea of her is that she probably was like in the criminal kind of in that kind of scene, but probably doing something she found pretty boring. Like I think maybe she was just fencing stolen goods or something, and she just found life super, super boring. And one day she decided to kind of take the tricks that she'd learned over the past few years and rob someone really important. She was like, you know what? I'm going to make a crap ton of money on this one job. And then I'm going to be set for life and I can get out of this city and everything's going to be good. And I was thinking that she definitely gets caught. She did not get away with this. And so to get out of the situation, because she's definitely the kind of gal who, if we don't have to fight, let's run away. Like, seriously,
a very handy
living
skill.
is pretty good. Yeah, she's not the kind of girl who's going to be like, for glory. Nope, she's like, you know what? I'd rather live to see tomorrow. So I think she probably promised to like recoup all this money or whatever that she stole and then just split.
Fantastic.
And now she is running.
Fantastic.
Running.
Well, I have a couple of, I think all of that is perfect. I have a couple of ideas about how we might tie that into the specific lore of Greyhawk at the time period where we will be beginning. One would be a bit of a departure. Okay, I'll start with the one that's almost straightforward through your story. And that is, we just take it all. The city in which you were a thief is the great free city of Irongate, and it's not entirely a dwarven city. The mayor is a dwarf, but it's just a gigantic free city. A very rich city. All of the free cities of the Flaness are very rich and they're cultural hotspots. And Irongate is no different. So you could decide, and it's not all going to come out tonight. So today so we'll have time to flesh it out so that as you reveal your backstory to your allies over time, it's fully developed. But you could, for now, decide that everything played out just the way you said, except you were being transported from the cells to basically to be tried and sentenced in the city of Iron Gate. And then something horrible happened to Iron Gate. And I won't tell you what. You'll just learn that in the first few minutes of our game.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
However, you would need, it's so horrible that you would not have escaped unscathed. And so you would in some way be scarred or maimed by this. I mean, you don't have to be horribly disfigured, but it's something that that perhaps you could either wear as a badge of pride, or you could be very self-conscious about. And when you hear what it is, you can describe yourself accordingly based on the decision that you make. So that's one option.
I'm liking, yeah, I'm liking this.
So you don't mind being scarred, huh?
It depends how badly.
Well, you can make up a story to essentially define both of those, how badly and where, and how you feel about it. Another option that you could have is you are human, correct?
That's right. Yeah, I didn't mention that before. Just straight boring human.
Straight boring human. You could choose to have been of Sul ancestry, which means that you would be fairly pale. You don't have to be completely albino, but you could be. And you were a member of the Scarlet Brotherhood, which is a very, very sinister force in the world of Greyhawk. Entirely secretive, a total secret society, actually blown up, though, to the size of a nation. And in some way, you were not completely brainwashed and bought into all of their political ends, and you really just wanted to make some money and leave. You did exactly what you talked about. Again, we can get specific about it a little bit later, but someone within the Scarlet Brotherhood, you robbed them, and that's a horrible, unforgivable offense. And so now you are in...
Sounds like something...
And now you are in prison for it. Like, we will begin with you in jail with your sentence about to be carried out.
I like that one. I like that one a lot. Yeah,
okay.
I like this idea of her...
Oh no, you're talking and I can't hear you. All I heard was, I like this, oof.
Oh no! I really like this idea of being part of like something bigger, but not really buying into the whole thing.
Well, that would be something very, very big.
Yeah. I like that, and that she can just she just is 100% selfish. She's just gonna pave her own way. Like if you're lucky enough to be friend zoned in the non-traditional use of that, then she's gonna look out for you. But this girl is out for herself. So I like that idea of having been part of something bigger and then ending up in a really sticky situation. I like
fantastic. All right, that's great then. So now you've got your backstory. Would you hop up to the channel and tell everybody, like Price is Right, come on down? Okay. I don't know if you get that reference, do you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Through like pop culture, filtering down.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I will be right
All right,
back.
fantastic.
I'll go get the team.
So I have been keeping one eye on Roll20 this whole time. I have said from the beginning that this session 0 needn't be a long one, and session 0 is not the goal. Yeah. Getting into the game is the goal, and so I think that everybody could be ready to go ahead and begin. But Roll20 is not ready. Their latest update is that they're going to be down several more hours. So, is everyone in channel with me now?
We
All
are.
here.
We are. So why do you need Roll20 when we have the theater of the
We have the
mind?
theater.
So that is what we will do, despite my fantastic maps and my characters and battle maps and all the things that I created for this. I would rather forge ahead than I would like to stop here. So how about we all go take a little break, get some coffee if it's during the day. If you're like Kim and you're on the other side of the Atlantic, get a beer, or hell, wherever you are, get a beer. I don't care.
I'm already.
What are you drinking in that little thing? It looks like a potion bottle.
No, this is called Switchback Ale. It's an unfiltered ale from Vermont.
Nice.
Stick to
No,
my
unfortunately,
delicious sparkling water.
Fantastic. Yes, I've got to do the same.
It's my day off. Don't shame
Unfortunately, I don't have hard copies of the maps, so that's a little bit of a bummer. Actually, one of them I might be able to pull up. So I will work on that during the break. So I would like all of you. I'm going to tell you where you are starting now. None of you know one another. And unfortunately, your various choices and paths have brought you low. You are all in a jail cell. In
Guys, how did you all end up here?
yeah.
Public nudity.
Classic.
Yes, you're all in a jail cell, on the outskirts of the, where are we? I can't see my map, it's too small. Anna, are you still in chat?
I don't know if Anna's in chat.
Oh, well, you are all, I'll look it up, but you're all going to begin in a jail cell. I will connect with you guys during the break to give you just a few additional facts. And when we get back from this short break, we will begin the actual play of Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains. Woo! Woohoo! So you guys, players, go ahead and take your break. I do want to, before I go on my break, I do want to thank Skunk City, Castle Mac, Saving Throw Show, Thranrin Boldy, Rachel Earswings, Dead Meat DM, Joey Quest, and Soul Bear Productions, who have all either followed or thrown bits or both. Fantastic. I do want to let you guys know, because we're almost there. When we get to 3,000 bits, divine favor falls upon the group. And what that means is I roll a d6, actually a d4. We choose one of these players and I roll on the divine favor table, and they receive some sort of blessing. We shall see what that is. It can range from something as small as inspiration to something quite helpful. So we'll see what that is. But now, take a break. Don't go away. Just take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Yeah.
Yay.
And welcome back to the Greyhawk channel. And again, this is Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains. We are here with a wonderful cast of folks, and we have completed our Session 0 work. Maybe a little rushy, but, we're not going to get that deep into characters' backstories because they have chosen to meet one another for the first time. And therefore, it's up to them to decide how much of their backstory they reveal to one another. They know where they are going to meet. I am real quick just going to, everybody in chat, join with me here, sending mental healing energies to Roll20. I'm going to check it one more time before we go.
I'm not Sean O, by the way. We are a little messed up.
Oh, no.
All right, I'm playing Lux now, guys.
So it looks like
Ja, ich heiße Heinrich und ich bin aus Berlin.
it looks like what is it? Zoom had a glitch while we were gone, which causes all of these images to get shuffled. And I'll see how quickly I can replace all of that. That wasn't hard to do. There we go. So Roll20 is out, is down for the count, yet we are going to forge ahead because we have something called the Theater of the Mind. So let me change some music here first so that it is appropriate to what we're going to begin together. And we will begin. Where is that? Also, Battle Bards, who I dearly love and deeply appreciate, their caste system is down today. So we are really struggling here. But tabletop audio is saving our bacon, which we always use. It's just that we frequently use it within the confines of the Battle Bards cast. So here we go. We've got music. We've got our players. My friends, let us walk together down Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains. The year is 601, as measured by the common year, though few measure passage of time in that way anymore. Far more common is to hear people speak of the number of years since. 9 years since the silencing, when the Archlich Vecna succeeded in blocking huge swaths of Earth from access to the gods. 6 years since the flood of fiends, when the demigod tyrant Euse overcame the protective powers of the Crook of Rao, allowing infernal creatures to walk once more across the fields of the Flanness. 5 years since the vanishing, when the Archmage Mordenkainen disappeared and the Circle of Eight fractured into dysfunction. 2 years since the conflagration, when the Scarlet Brotherhood finally acquired the lost secrets of an ancient magical apocalypse and reduced the free city of Irongate to ash and rubble in a single night. Of course, you all remember with painful nostalgia what people have come to call the time before. A period of relative stability and moderate prosperity following the conclusion of the Greyhawk Wars, when noble nations held the peace in strategic unity long enough for the land to heal, and for the common folk of the Flanness to see their lives genuinely improve and have hope for their children's future for the first time in years. Of course, now that hope is a distant memory. Vecna, the Undying King, rules the Sheldamar Valley and the neighboring lands, yet stretches his bony fingers across all of the Flanness. Pouring forth the abyss to swell his ranks, Euse crushed the allied forces of Furiondi, Nyrond, and Voluna, the remnants of which now try to fortify Voluna as their last stand. And facing the great threat of arcane annihilation, one by one, the rulers of the great free cities, including Greyhawk, yielded authority to the Scarlet Brotherhood. And it is in this dark time And at the mercy of that dark force, that 4 adventurers, strangers until this moment, have found themselves in a dank, musty dungeon. 2 in each of 2 cells. Brelinda and Odos share 1 cell. Heinrich and Lux share another cell. Separated by a 10-foot hallway, they can see one another clearly through the bars. Also, in an adjacent cell, there appear to be a couple of human forms sleeping, dead, who knows, as you complain, rage against the guards, complain about the food. They have yet to move in any of this time. And so there you find yourselves, and suddenly you hear a rattling, cha-ching, 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 as a metal cup is slid down the bars, and a porcine orc, rubbing his round belly, walks down the aisle and says, "Well, good morning to you, fresh mates. It looks like you all are bound for the fighting pits today." And you hear a door creak open at the end of the hall, and the orc immediately goes and just stands at attention. And a figure walks out of the doorway. He's clad in black, except for a red, wavy cross emblazoned right in the middle of his chest. You have seen this gentleman a few times. Some of you know him well. His name is Tragar Hax. He is an elder brother with the Scarlet Brotherhood. And as he walks past, I can't remember who I put in which cells. Heinrich and Lux are in 1 cell together, is that right? As he walks past Heinrich and Lux's cell, they see his flawless pale skin, his icy blue eye. And as he walks, at the same moment, of course, on the other side of the hallway, Brelinda and Odos' cell, they see his twisted, gnarled, scarred visage that twists at the corner of his mouth, creating a perpetual scowl from which teeth appear to be proceeding all the way through the lip. And he turns to the orc and says, "Begone." And the orc fumbles with the cup for a second, tries to decide which way to go. Yeah, I'm not going to walk past this guy. Turns the other way and walks around the corner, and you hear, and he turns around because that was a dead end. And he goes down the stairs and disappears. And at that point, Tragar Hax says, "It's hard to find good help, isn't it? But the oaf is right. Expediency in judgment is a hallmark of the Brotherhood. And your judgment has been set. Yes. You will be going to the fighting pits on the wharf to provide entertainment for the rabble in the ports, most of which are certainly not of our bloodline. But to keep the peace, it is wise to keep the foreign mongrels entertained during their brief period on the peninsula. I trust all 4 of you will prove to be entertaining."
Is he within arm's reach through the bars?
I would say he's right in the middle, so it'd be close.
DM?
Go ahead, Sean, first, real quick.
Oh, sure.
Well, I mean,
Well, are you going to be joining us in the fighting pits? Last I checked, you're the foreigner here. I'm from here.
No. I will be joining as a spectator only to make sure that you put up a wonderful show.
I'll sure to be looking for you in the crowd.
Please do. Lock eyes with me as your lifeblood spills from your throat. I would love to share that moment with you.
I mean, you should know that I've closed the eyes of every enemy I've faced. Before long, I'll close the eyes of this Brotherhood.
tedious. Sean, what were you going to do?
I was going to actually stare at him and use detect thoughts. I can do that once per day.
Oh, man. Roll20 is our whole dice system here.
So, yeah, that's going to be, let's see.
I may have to step... I'm going to go get some stinking dice.
All right, he needs a wisdom save.
And that's how we play Dungeons and Dragons.
All analog here today, guys.
Yeah, we going old school up in this house. Shoot.
So my character has just been pacing back and forth, seething with rage.
Mhm.
My long black hair is like in my face. But then when he shows up, I stop and I stare at him. And, you know, I have just black eyes. I'm just going to try to stare right into his mind. And he has a wisdom saving throw, and I think the DC is a 16.
Oh, I'm just going to have to just assign something to that because his character sheet is in Roll20. All right. So, wisdom save for a DC. All right. So, describe what happens when you do that.
I initially learn the surface thoughts of the creature, what is on its mind in that moment. As an action, I can shift my attention to another of their thoughts or attempt to probe deeper. I want to probe deeper. I want to know the layout of this place, and I want to know what we're going to be fighting. And I want to know any weaknesses this guy has so I can kill him.
And what happens if he makes his wisdom save?
I think I just get some surface thought.
Okay. Is that correct?
It says you initially learn the surface thoughts, and then as an action, blah, 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 blah. If the saving throw succeeds, the spell ends. I might get almost nothing.
Ah, okay. All right, then. So you reach out with the powers of your mind, seeking his unique mental signature. And you feel just a couple of quick surface thoughts. The first thing that you feel is he was just finishing talking to Heinrich. And so you imagined what he was imagining. You see Heinrich down in the fighting pits, looking up at Tragar, who is on a raised platform of some sort, and relishing Heinrich's brief look of confusion and panic as he makes eye contact with him, and then a massive arm pulls a sword across his throat. Blood fans out from his throat in an arterial gush, and his eyes fade to black. And then you also get just one more thought, and it is of an old man lying on the ground of the fighting pits, and a gnarled boot on his head, and then crushed. His head literally explodes under the weight of the boot. And then, that's all you get.
Okay, and I'm gonna look at Free Linda. I think she's about to do something. I'll just kind of.
So my question for the DM is this who I think it is?
You very, very clearly recognize him.
And do I know his name or no? Yet.
No.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of lean back against the cell wall and just stare straight at him with a smirk and say, "Oh, yes. I remember you. You're very good at spectating, considering you couldn't do anything to me last time."
He finds you in the back of the cell, stares at you for a moment, and says, "I would say that you have me confused with someone else, but given my memorable visage, that's perhaps unlikely. Please further enlighten me as to the lessons I learned at your hand when last we met, because I forget."
Oh, I don't think you so much learned lessons as got paddled and sent away like a schoolboy.
This is a story I would love to hear.
Oh, I don't think you need to hear it again. I think you know it just fine. I'm just going to keep staring at him with just that lovely smirk on my face saying, I've seen you run like a bitch.
Since it's unlikely that you would be false right before your own death, I will dwell on this, and perhaps your forgetful face will surface in a still pool of my mind, and I'll know what tale you speak of. Until then, please imagine your brutal death. You have 1 hour. And he turns from Odos and Brulinda, turns back to Heinrich and looks, and now looks at Lux, and says, "What, my beauty? No pithy words? Traitor." And
hush.
he goes, and spits on your boot.
Is he within arm's reach of me right now?
He's standing in the middle of the walkway.
Heinrich would probably try to grab him.
All right.
At the spit.
Let's make a melee to hit roll with disadvantage.
Okay. You want me to just tilt the camera here for you?
No. In this extreme circumstance, it's player's honor.
All 20s. Okay.
Oh, I can't hear you. You've muted yourself.
Let me just pouring the dice out to disadvantage.
If you want, I'll roll it for you.
Actually, yeah, that would be the best.
Okay.
I'll tell you what my to hit is.
Yes.
So
there we go.
I'm +9 to hit.
All right. Wow. That's nice. So you are able, in a flash, to dart past Lux, and just barely, by your fingertips only, you catch his collar.
I'm going to pull him right into the bars.
We're going to call that a grapple. So you can give me a strength, and I'm going to choose Dex.
Okay.
Oh, you need me to roll that. So what's your...
I have him. I can do it if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
Or you can, whatever you feel more comfortable with.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay. So let's see. All right. So I got a 20 strength here. Okay. Yep, rolled a 4, so that's a 9.
Ah. So you grab his collar. His face doesn't register any surprise, but in one fluid motion, he looks down at it and moves aside in some sort of swift gesture that breaks your hold. And so as you pull, it's suddenly not in your hand anymore, and you stumble back just a little bit. You don't land on your ass, but he said, "Oh, please, save that for the fighting pits. And I will call your name right before you die. I expect you to be man enough to look me in the eyes. And I think I will choose a special manner for your death, since you have so nobly chosen to protect the honor of a traitor. Farewell, my friends." And he just does the slow backwards fade, turning at the last moment and closing the door behind him, leaving the four of you alone in your cells. I forgot to mention a couple of things. You've been there 2 days. Sim has been there a week. Why do we keep saying Sim? Cam has been there a week. Lux has been there a week. I'm just going to go with character names. Has been there a week with nothing but water. None of you have any weapons at all, of course. No weapons, no equipment. And each of you wears on your left wrist a thin band of pure malachite. You're not even sure how it got on there because there's no clasp. It's not a flexible substance, of course. It doesn't fit over your hand. You couldn't take it off without removing your hand. And all of you have noted that it seems to entirely block any magical abilities which you may have had. So the last to arrive was Odos. So the order was Lux, Heinrich, Brilinda, and Odos. Odos, you've been there about a day. But you've all been given one special hour to spend with one another, before apparently you were taken for your execution to the fighting pits down by the wharf.
Did they take all of our equipment or just our weapons?
Weapons, equipment. You did see that those were you're not sure how much. You don't know if the weapons are there too, but you do know that stashed around the corner where the orc went is a storage room.
Okay. Now this band that prevents magic, does it block me from using my key points? My key points let me, do all sorts of stuff, flurry of blows, that kind of thing. And also, do I have any booze? Do I have my alcohol?
I think
The most important question.
I believe that you are agonizingly sober at the moment. It's it's a very rare experience for you to have, and it's incredibly unpleasant. You are not, you can just fill in the blanks how miserable it is, but it's not good.
So I can use Mage Hand at will, but would this Malachite band would block that?
When I came up with this idea, I was not thinking monk because, like I said, I don't know monk. So I think I'm just going to DM's whim on a call-by-call basis. If it seems like you're expending points to do something purely mental or physical, I will probably allow that. If you're spending points to do something that emulates some sort of a spell function, probably not, but kind of one at a time, case-by-case basis, we can talk about those things. And I think it's very natural for your character to try those things out. And so that's the method by which you would discover it as a player.
Are there any guards in the hallway once this guy leaves?
Nope.
Does that guard come back?
Not a soul. The hallway is relatively short. Each one of these cells, there are 2 cells side by side on each side of the 10-foot walkway, and each one of these cells are 10 feet wide. So each of you share a 10-foot cell, and then there are 2 human forms in one of the other ones. So 20-foot wide hallway. There's a brief turn at the end of the hallway and a stairway down, and at the close side of the hallway is the closed wooden door through which Tragar Hax disappeared.
Okay.
In the meantime, I think I would talk to Lux. I'm sorry I could not get him for you, and that he spit on your boot.
Don't worry yourself about that. Always did love the zone.
Being
I'll
a
go back
traitor
to
to these
thinking about
traitors is joining the right side in my book, so I'm happy to have you. Like, you two, across the cell. Rulinda, right?
Yes, what?
Your name was Odos?
I do not answer.
My cellmate has a very...
Can you say that again? You cut out for a moment. Yes, you, Kelly.
My cellmate doesn't exactly speak very much.
Fair enough. I suppose you won't have to. But, look, I've been in a unit before. I've fought in many conflicts. If we all fight together, we can perhaps make it out when the moment is opportune.
Nothing's going to get done. This is obviously a setup. We have no weapons. And I don't know about you. You don't look like a person, but I've tried what I've got and I can't do anything.
I've never used magic beyond a potion before. Only my hands and my weapons. I've
Well, that's
seen
your
worse.
loss then.
Oh, come now. Don't lose faith. Got to be a way we can get out of this. I'll go and feel the bars. I'm sure I've been doing it all. But once again, God, there's got to be something here.
Just
I can't
tickling the
die like
bars.
this.
So give me an investigation.
Okay, let me bring up my character sheet.
Oh,
Add to that.
oh yes, you've got an old school character sheet. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so...
I keep
Ooh.
spamming Roll20 to see if it's going to... Oh, Roll20 is currently in read-only mode. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means we can get in or not, but we'll wait until after we're past this point.
So, that is a 17.
A 7? Oh,
17.
fantastic.
Ones, yeah.
You believe, like, as you have examined these bars, there's nothing fancy about this place. It's obviously quite old. And you're also clearly not too far from the ports. You can smell the salt air from time to time. But also, just the increased amount of corrosion on the bars is a clear sign to you. But this is old, but it's sturdy. You're not gonna bend any of these bars. None of them are breakable. They go well down into the floor and to the ceiling. If you had something, you're very, very skilled. You could pick it, but you're not going to be able to pick it with your finger.
Would they have taken any jewelry I was wearing?
I would say, yeah, they would have taken anything that's of value because they don't want you to have it. Because you're not going to need it much longer, apparently.
Well, there's something else in my cell. Old and a bit rough. Maybe if I set the two against each other, I'll turn around to Heinrich. How good are you at kicking things?
I'd like to tell you, I was a novice, but I'm very good at kicking things.
Those bars, I've been in prisons before and they don't look sturdy. Might be worth a shot.
Point out which bars I should kick, and I'll start.
Would I be able to point out which ones look most rusty?
Yes. I would say some on the lower right-hand side. But I do have to warn you, that is comparatively the best place to work, but it doesn't look like it's going to be easy.
Well, I'd suggest down there. I mean, unless you have any better ideas.
I can kick or I can try to bend. You're a bit smaller than me. You might be able to fit through. Was that something I would be thinking could potentially be an option for him?
You're going to have to... there's the straight bars,
Right.
and then on two levels there are a crossbar. And if you got two of them to break loose from the floor and could kick them up into a bent upwards position, she could fit through.
Okay. I think that's what he's going to try to go with.
Okay.
Lux will go stand back at the back of the cell.
Let's-
Project manager.
Let's do a strength check.
Okay. Rolling. Yeah, that is a 16, so that's a 21.
All right. So you, being brutish, just commence to kicking at this lower bar, one of them. So one kick, two kicks. One thing you discover, it's not quiet business. So it's like, and all of the bars go. You get off three kicks. And at that point, Brulinda and Odos hear a sound from the adjacent cell. You hear a, please, the noise. Please, stop it. And Heinrich and Lux can see that one of the humanoid forms that has remained relatively motionless. Lux, you have seen this form move a couple of times, so you know it appears to be an infinitely old man. Like they had to create a new character, a new category of old for this man. You question whether is perhaps this man undead, and if not, perhaps he should be. He is so old, white, long, curling hair. Clumps of it are just missing, and so there are patches of like liver-spotted scalp throughout. His hair, despite being really, really long, is very thin. So you can see, almost at any point on his head, you can see his scalp. His eyes sit way back in their sockets. And they appear to be like one of them is a very pale blue, and the other one is just a milky white. And his face seems to be melting off his skull. And he, as far as you can discern, has no teeth in the black hole of his mouth. And he sits up, he's dressed in rags, and says, Why strain so against the inevitability? Please grant an old man a few moments of quiet before his death.
Would Lux have spoken to him before this? Having been there for a week.
If you had been chatty, you may have tried to do so, but he showed no interest.
So she'll look at him and say, You're still not dead, old man.
No, despite my ongoing efforts for the past 60 years, somehow I remain completely alive. So I get to watch the final show.
Well, gross.
So his body is racked with spasmodic coughs that finally leave him purple-faced and trembling, leaning against the wall.
Heinrich would talk to him while he's still kicking. You're like, look, if I break these bars, you can escape with us too. We'll all get out of here together. So maybe just hold down on the complaining and we'll come for you next.
Do you see how old he is? He's not going anywhere.
No, I'm not going anywhere. Please.
He would just slow us down, even if we did manage to get out of this shithole.
Oh, yes, I have to say that... And he fingers the black malachite band around his wrist. I have been rendered as harmless as a mouse.
We get out of here, we get our weapons, we break these bands, we leave. If you all want to stay in these cells, that's fine with me, but I'm leaving.
I am also leaving. I am definitely not staying here.
What is today?
Hell if I know.
Somebody is able to give him the date, the actual date. And that's in my handout in Roll20. So we'll just say that one of you knows the date.
I don't think it would be me. I feel like I've been here for too long to...
Okay. Odos makes the decision to speak.
I'll tell.
Okay, so he looks up at you and says, well, you can try to escape if you like, but I think you might as well just watch the show.
I think we are the show.
Yes. The show for the rabble down at the wharfs, the ones they call the mongrel infidels, with whom they must at least engage in commerce, as detestable as they find it. But no, we are not the main event for today. Today is the day it all ends.
What do you mean today's the day it all ends?
What are you waffling on about?
My dear, what is your name?
Are you talking to me?
You! There, the little one with the attitude. So that he is pointing at Lux.
You can call me Lux.
Yeah. Lux, I see that you have run afoul of your order.
You might want to put it that way.
Was it an attack of conscience as you watched your race, the master race, annihilate an entire free city, hundreds of thousands of people?
Look, I couldn't care less about that. I'd get out of the place and stop listening.
So, just a selfish opportunist then.
It's my middle name.
That's a really long middle name.
Okay, my character is totally disgusted at what he's hearing. He looks at Lux. He says, "Like Vilquar?" I asked Lux.
Who is that? Out of character.
Your character probably wouldn't know. It's a Sarah thing.
I think it's a city.
Vilquar, the trade Gith. If Vilquar had his way, I would still be a slave of the Mind Flayers.
Well, that's sad for you, but it's got nothing to do with... Look, why are we doing all this talking? Aren't you kicking the f***ing door?
But we're also listening to this old uncle over here. I'm interested in what he has to say. Also, those are my people out there. They are the ones that had been taken over. I came home planning on returning a hero, and instead I found my nation crumbling. I want to leave.
And it was the Scarlet Brotherhood that did so as well. So she is a traitor to them. So the old man then turns to Odos and says, the oaths of your people are noble, despite the fact that you are a quarrelsome and needlessly divisive race.
Yeah.
But I fear the end has come for you, too. There will be no hiding in any place. Not in Limbo. Not anywhere.
If you know so much, why are you stuck down here with the rest of us?
Because I, unlike the shameless opportunist, have been working for decades to stop the inevitable. Vecna, Hughes, the Brotherhood, the surge of evil in this world, meaningless. Now, they too will be wiped away, devoured and gone, and left behind nothing but the black void.
And who's going to do the devouring, huh? Since you know everything, just why don't you regale us? We've got a whole hour before we go die.
Heinrich would be like, I'm counting you 45 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for reminding me.
Long before there was Vecna, or Hughes, or even before the Sul Imperium that would someday become the Brotherhood graced the Flaness, there was the Hungry God, the Devourer of Worlds, the Eater, the Ender, and he was a threat so dire that all the gods, evil and good, bound together to stop him to chain him and prison him. But we have always known the fetters could not hold indefinitely. His return has been inevitable, especially when the 8 fell and the Archmage abandoned us. And today is the day that the Ender comes.
I want to say, Tharizdun?
No! Well, the Gith is well read in his ancient legends. It is not a name spoken often. Typically just a tale told to children, a fable. But I assure you, that fable will be all too real at sunset today.
What time is it now? Do we know?
It's late afternoon, mid-afternoon maybe.
It's a couple of hours.
What time of year is it?
It is.
I know when sunset would be.
It is early fall, and they don't have daylight savings time.
Thank God.
So he's saying this might happen while we're out in the arena.
He believes it won't be long. Yeah, sunset.
I will say, how do you know this?
Give me your name, Gith.
I will say, know that I am Odos Telecanthus of Zerthadlun.
Well, aren't you now? Quite a mouthful. May I just call you Odos?
Yeah.
A memorable name. I am Rixta. I have long labored at the side of powerful mages, and most specifically, I have been a librarian, an Exstellan, at the obsidian citadel of Mordenkainen, in the Yatil Mountains. I was there the day that Hughes broke the protections. I was carried away to his dank dungeons and was rescued. I have endured this and many other attacks, all the while aiding the Archmage in his pursuit.
Well, if what you were saying is true, we will go to the arena. Tharizdun will attack. And in the chaos, we will escape. Well, I will escape.
Oh,
Old man, you will escape as well.
oh, yes! A worthy plan, Gith. If only there were escape. I don't think you understand. It ends today. It all ends today. All life, all matter, all things. There will be no songs sung of today, for there will be no mouths to utter them, nor air to give them breath. It all ends today.
Heinrich will speak up. That can't be true. I don't believe it. I know you've looked at it for a long time, and perhaps you're feeling helpless. But I cannot believe that I finally made it home, only to have it all end before I see my family.
Tragic. One tragedy among millions. But there is nothing to be done. Believe it or not, as you will. Especially with what little time we have stolen from us by these bands.
I'm just going to say, time is an ally, not an enemy. And I'll look at Brelinda. Patience can sharpen even the smallest of weapons. And then I will sit cross-legged and think on the teachings of Zerthamon.
Was that in one of your little inspirational books or something? Do you only speak in platitudes?
These are the teachings of Zerthamon. Long have I studied the unspoken circle, Zerthamon.
Why are you talking?
And it's Zerthamon's name. If today is the day that we die,
Look,
all
are
that that
you
means
kicking or are you not kicking?
is that I will go to the spirit realm where Zerthamon waits.
Is he still talking?
There is no spirit realm.
There's
Get it.
nothing.
This is it.
Okay, my
If we
character
die here,
really
we
doesn't
die.
like Lux. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to say, it is your kind that is ruining everything.
My kind? You don't know a single thing about my kind.
Traitor.
Heinrich would,
Bad
put
trip.
a hand out and a handbag. This will do no good. Like, we're all traitors to this. We're all somebody's enemy. But right now, we're all together. That's all we have. If you want to go to the spirit realm after this, we'll probably all be going together. For now, let's figure out how to get out of here.
I will look at Lux and I will say, it is my will that our two paths do not become one. And I will sit down and think on the teachings of Zerthamon.
While they're all arguing, I'm just going to find a rock in the corner of the cell and start smashing my band on my wrist. Just on the off chance, because malachite is actually a very brittle stone. But I'm not sure I would know that.
Obviously, there's some sort of enchantment on this band, since its function is not merely decorative. So as you begin to ping away at your bracelet, the old man leans over against the bars. Actually, your bars separate the cells as well, so you're not communicating around a wall. Brelinda and Odos can see this old man, Rixta, as he has called himself, and he's sitting against the back wall. He slowly slides over. It's questionable as to whether his legs function. He certainly seems not to be using them now, and leans his head against the bars and says, "Gith, dream now of the spirit world. We will not be joining you there, nor will you be in attendance either. All things will be gone."
You must be such fun at parties.
Yeah, well, actually, in a different age, a different time. Ah, yes, I was quite the life of the party, and I did have my way with the ladies.
Oh god, that's disgusting. Oh god.
But that was a different age, a different time. I think it was. It's strange how time has become confused. Dimensions and planes muddled. The path that we take through time, through space, through the planes is a difficult road to even retrace or understand, impossible to map. I could leave now, If I didn't have this band, I could choose to flee once again, back in time, forward into oblivion, walk the path of the plains once more.
He said it. He said it, guys. The name.
Oh, well, there you go.
This is important. Listen. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he just did the trope. Good
He
job.
said the name. Okay.
But why? This is the inevitable end of all things, and I am old and tired. What can be changed?
Okay. So, all right. He's not having much luck bending the bars, right?
Yeah.
Let's say
So-
that you take another round of kicking. You did notice after your 3 kicks, there is a little bit of crumbling at the base. But that's really it. Like the bar is not popping out or swinging forward.
I'm just going to, when oh god, I forgot his name already.
Rixta.
Rixta. When he was starting to talk about planes and dimensions and everything else, I stopped hitting my bracelet and just kind of stared off into nothingness for a minute. Because I may have had experiences with people escaping into different planes before. So it just brought up a few memories there.
Is there anything that you're sharing with him or with your party? It's
to
early to say that it's your party. These strangers imprisoned together.
We're being optimistic.
So I'm just going to kind of look up at him and say, "Old man, what do you mean you could escape to a different plane?"
Well, the exiting of one plane, entering of another, is no more difficult at this point than stepping from one room into another. The passage of time forwards and backwards is as if going upstairs, downstairs.
So you're saying if I can get this bracelet off, I can get your bracelet off, you can take us anywhere we want in time to fix whatever.
Yes, so that you can fix what the mage did not. Noble, very noble. But the archmage failed or gave up the effort. Why would you succeed where he did not? What know you of planes and dimensions?
More than you think. And I didn't say I was going to fix what your mage didn't. I was going to say I was going to fix something I didn't.
Well, that sounds interesting.
I'm just going to lean back into the shadow again and start chipping away at my bracelet and not look at him.
Heinrich would be like, well, what if we could? But what if we could go back and change it? We could give it a try. There are many of us here. We could change this, otherwise we lose nothing. It still ends.
What would you change? Tell me. Would you change the flood of fiends? Would you change the silencing? Would you change the conflagration? And it's you don't know whether it's coincidence or some keen intuition on his part, but as he says the conflagration, he does make eye contact with Berlinda.
I'm just going to stare him down.
And if you change all of those things, what then? Would that stop the end from coming? No, it wouldn't. It is inevitable. Even the gods know and can do nothing. At least we get to see it.
I don't much like all this talk about end.
These bracelets look breakable in any way, or you could slip out of them?
They don't seem burly. They don't seem like, a padlock around your wrist or just bracers of any sort, really. They're like a thin black band, perhaps as thick as my pinky finger.
Oh. I mean,
not
they're
Lux's
solid.
Pinky finger. Yes.
Are they bendy or are they solid?
No, what's perplexing is they are solid stone. Malachite, as far as you can tell. So how they got on and how they get off, you don't know.
So my fists are technically count as magic weapons. If I smooshed it up against the wall, right, I just started punching it with my flurry of blows. Do I feel like that would in any way damage it? Yeah.
You don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would take much to break this thing off. But obviously, you've seen Berlinda try to beat it with a rock, to no avail.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll put it up against the wall and just, try to pound away at it and see what happens.
All right, so what do you roll for that?
Don't know. Normally my attack, I have a +7 to hit. and I can get 2 attacks around. Then I could either use a bonus action to get 1 more, or I could spend a key point to do Flurry of Blows and get 2 more. So I could do 4 strikes in 1 round.
Yeah, key point will just add 1 more to your bonus attack.
Oh yeah, 1 more, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm not going to make you roll it to hit to see if you can hit the stationary object that happens to be latched to your very own wrist. So go ahead and give me... You might as well give me 3 attacks.
+7. Ooh, 14 + 7. 21. 3, 10. 12 plus...
Are you rolling
7.
damage right now?
No, those are just to hit.
Yeah, you can hit that. It's part of you.
D6 + 3, so...
Stop hitting yourself.
6, 12, 17 points with attacks. I'll do the flurry. So.
Okay.
And another 5 on top of that.
So what is that total?
22 points of bludgeoning.
22. Okay. So you pin this thing like right up against the wall. And so it's got stone on the other side. And with all of your focused effort, your relatively honed skill, you just blast against it over and over and over. And you start to hurt your hand. I mean, you start to get a deep bruise spreading from the palm of your hand. But over and over, this thing just goes, as it smashes against the rock, just goes tink, tink, tink. And when you're done, you don't want to do it again. You could, but it hurts. You can't tell whether it's been harmed or not. It's difficult to say.
Well, I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep punching it 2 times per round and let my knuckles get all bloody. Just what else am I going to do? Till somebody has a better idea or my hand falls apart.
That's a good idea.
Lux, I think seeing what Odus is doing, is going to reassess and look at this around her. And is there any way I can make a sleight of hand check or something to try sort of slip my hand out of it by popping some bones out of place? I'm super dexterous.
You're just gonna flipper your hand.
Yeah. Is there any way?
Yeah, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check, and if you make it, then there may be some consequences to you if you can actually do this.
Okay. I rolled a natural 20.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And I have a +13 to sleight of hand.
Oh my god.
So it's basically a sleight of hand apocalypse. Yes. All right. So sitting there,
I'm gonna do it so well my hand comes.
focusing on it, you just start slowly working your hand, and you now begin to obsess. You now begin to some degree, panic. And the more you work your hand, the more you will yourself to ignore the pain. The pain is immediate as you're pressing against bone and flesh. But then it gets worse with something popped. And then every time you work your hand, you feel a little grind every time you move it, but still focused until that wasn't a pop, that was a snap. Something broke, but still you work, and now there are 2 places that are beginning to grind together. Heinrich, I assume, is watching this. And I don't know whether Brelinda is, but it is at this point that Rixta leans over against the bars. My dear, I understand that I have not poured sunshine into your life today. I wish that we had met in a different age, a different circumstance. I could have swept you off your feet. But
You could have tried. Yep.
and he looks at Breland and says, "Tell an old man a tale, would you, before the curtain goes down on us all? Tell me the tale that haunts your stare."
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
I wish you did. I wish you would. What harm will it do to tell an old man a tale? All the while, Lux continues working.
All right. I'm only going to be alive for what? What is it now, soldier? You're keeping such good count. Is it, 20 minutes left? What do I have? How long do I have? And the soldier can't be heard.
Half an hour, maybe.
Thank you. So what? You want me to tell all these people that I'm the one responsible for half this shit?
Oh, is that so?
Is that what you want to hear?
Oh, somehow I doubt that is true.
If it wasn't for me and some old friends of mine, they would never have been able to start their little conflagration.
Oh. How is it that you have come to assign that guilt to yourself?
Well, I'm the one that didn't pick up that damn crystal, aren't I? Without the crystal, they couldn't have done anything.
Crystal. The crystal. What crystal?
Are you just toying with me? I think you already know all these answers.
No. When I toy with you, you'll enjoy it more.
Oh, that's so gross. Oh.
That was a very interesting look from Odos there.
He's just like, I'm looking not here. Well, it's funny that you should ask me about that. Because that's where I've seen our little friend with the oh-so-good-looking face before. He and a couple of his buddies were the ones that took it from me. Or, me and my friends, I should say. Look, it was part of the... You lizard person. What's your name again? Odos?
I don't answer.
The lizard person.
I bristle at the mention of a lizard person. I
just wanted to say lizard.
I continue punching my hand.
Heinrich would somewhat obtusely be like, "He is not a lizard man. I've fought lizard men. He's nothing. He's definitely not that."
Thank you. Thank you for being absolutely strict with my meaning. Anyway. I'm assuming, Gith, that since you know so much about history, you've heard about the reign of colorless fire.
Shane, would my character know about that?
Do a history check.
History, I have a -1.
Or religion, if you prefer. I would allow either.
All right, 18, that's also a -1. So I got a 17.
Yeah. Yes, you have definitely heard about the twin cataclysms and identify the reign of colorless fire as the attack that wiped out the Sul Imperium.
Then I will say, the reign of colorless fire is known to me.
Well, do you notice how similar that is? All that old story you've heard. How similar that is to this conflagration that allowed these people to take power.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because it's the same damn thing. My friends and I found all the parts of the staff that allowed the reign of colorless fire to happen, and we weren't quick enough. And that douchebag and his two asshole friends took the crystal.
Okay, my character will pause to take this all in, and then I will mutter, in Zerthamon's name. And then I will continue punching my thingy.
And since everyone's laughing, now is a good point to question whether a douchebag is a thing, but it's still fascinating.
Okay, sorry.
So
I didn't have an epithet that I came to mind quickly.
So the old man sits as vertically as you've seen him sit. He sits straight up and looks at you and says, "Well, maybe you should feel a little guilty."
I'm just going to roll my eyes at him and lean again. And this is why I don't tell that story.
I understand, all humor aside. I understand the bitter taste of what-ifs and failed attempts and missed opportunities. I have played those out. I have gone back, changed things, arrived in a new place, in a new present, with new realities, only to see that they are no better, and I have changed nothing. But still, I cannot imagine the grief that must be upon you. All of Iron Gate, all those people, and that as if they never used the staff again. And he turns to all four of you. I am done. I give up. I'm done chasing that path. But I will give you an act of kindness. I don't want the end of my journey to be the end of yours if you do not choose that, as futile as I know your efforts will be in the long run. If you can get this bracelet from my hand, then I will send you back. You can walk the path of the plains. See if you can unravel the mysteries. See if you can prevent all of the devastation of the past decade, so that everyone may arrive at this faithful, unavoidable, inexorable day a bit happier. I suppose that's worth it. Maybe. So, how do you intend to get this off? And at that moment, there's another pop and click, and Lux cannot help but give a little cry out, a little gasp and plea of pain, and the ring goes popping off of her hand. Your hand does not immediately pop into its old form. It seems to be caught in this sort of crushed position. And all of you see, brought by the sound of her voice, see this ring, black ring, fly off and land on the ground and roll back into the back of the cell. And then it finally does this with all eyes on it. It finally does this thing of like, ring, 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 and is still. And at that moment, as she looks down at her hand, which is starting to swell, the door opens. Traegar Hax sort of moves into the doorway. He looks at Brulinda and Odos with his withered face, smiles at Lux and Heinrich with his pleasant face, and says, "Well, it is time. Let's go." And as he steps aside to let a couple of guards enter behind him, holding keys, they begin to unlock your cells. You are hopelessly outnumbered, and they go to bring you to the fighting pits. Thus ends episode 1 of Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains. Yeah, lots of theater of the mind going on there. Had little maps for all of that, and we might have gotten to the fighting pits faster if we had a map, maybe. But it doesn't matter, because here we are. And I feel like we met some really cool new people, and you guys are awesome. I mean, you guys have done you guys are great. I've picked a heck of a cast here.
I love it,
Just
guys.
fantastic.
Good
Fantastic.
job.
So, this is going to be our new thing. We're going to be Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So, it's my first daytime game. And, Kem, that's like, what time is it for you at this point?
It's 8. Right now it's 11 p.m.
Oh, wow. Good night. You've got to take a drink and go to bed.
6 hours ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm getting my cocoa and I'm gonna sleep.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I hope all of you in chat enjoyed this. I have seen a lot of new names. If you guys would, do what Eldritch Raccoon has just done. Go up and click the follow button. We've got 5 campaigns running every single week. And the next campaign is on Friday night. We have Tomb of Horrors. So, hi. There's my son in the background with the daughter. So the next campaign is Tomb of Horrors, Episode 2. They've actually made it into the tomb, so things are going to get messy real quick. So if you would, go up and click follow. I love you guys, love you all, and come back next week for Episode 2 of Mordenkainen's Path of the Plains. Let's go to the fighting pits! What? Fantastic.
Broken hand.
Yes, with a flipper for a hand.